Hello and welcome to Eurosport's coverage of the Molson Indy Toronto with me, Ben Edwards, and Jeremy Shaw. The sun is shining, conditions are ideal for the start of round 12 of the series, which will be led away by a Scotsman and an Englishman. 31 years ago, another Scotsman was on pole for a non-championship IndyCar race at Fuji in Japan. His name was Jackie Stewart. Today, Dario Franchitti emulates that. Paul Tracy, though, is the championship leader by 11 points over fellow Canadian Greg Moore. Gilles de Ferran has been going well in recent races, but watch out for Michael Andretti. Fourth in the championship. He's had one race win so far this year, but he is starting from the second row of the grid, and he's won this race in Toronto 5 times in 10 stars. But pole position to Dario Franchitti, and this was the celebration that both Dario and team owner Carl Hogan enjoyed yesterday. Dario said afterwards he'd been warned about the bear hug that he could expect if he did well with Carl Hogan. That's exactly what he was given after that qualifying session. It was a fabulous achievement from the young Scotsman, just 24 years old. He's on pole position here, and with Mark Blundell alongside him, this is a great day for English drivers, or British drivers rather, an English and a Scotsman on the front row here, Jeremy, for an IndyCar race.
Astonishing. Just hope they can keep it up. It has been an awful long time since we've had an Englishman even on the pole, so great effort yesterday by Dario Franchitti. Mark Blundell also. There's some interesting little differences. They're both running Reynard Mercedes tyres and cars with Firestone tyres, each of them, but Dario Franchitti qualified on the harder of the two Firestone options, and Mark Blundell was on the softer of the tyres, and yet Dario was quicker. So pretty interesting that, and it's certainly something we're going to have to keep an eye on this afternoon, Ben.
So it's Dario Franchitti, the 24-year-old from Blackburn in Scotland, who blitzed them all in qualifying yesterday, but Mark Blundell lining up alongside him. The second row is the experienced row. Michael Andretti, 5 times winner. Bobby Rahal has led more laps than anybody else here in Toronto in the past. Scott Pruitt and Alex Zanardi are next up. Alex was actually faster in the morning warm-up this morning than he did in qualifying yesterday, so watch out for him. Andre Ribeiro was quick in the warm-up this morning as well. Raul Boesel is alongside him. Back on row 5, though, is Greg Moore, one of the local favourites. Maurizio Gugelmin, yet to win a race, is alongside. Gilles de Ferran, with that good run of podium finishes recently, moving up in the championship, and Brian Herter was on the podium in Cleveland last time. Christian Fittipaldi is continuing his fight back and his comeback with leading in Cleveland for a while, but Paul Tracy's a long way down. Jimmy Vasser not going well as last year's champion. Gualter Sales won the Indy Lights here last year, but he's got a lot of work to do. Alonso Jr. has had a couple of victories here in the past. He's alongside Michel Jourdain Jr. We've got Parker Johnston and PJ Jones back together on row number 10. Behind them, another Canadian is Patrick Carpentier. He's the only driver to have finished every race this year. Alongside him is Adrian Fernandez in the low lap. Then it's Max Papis and Richie Hearn. Again, Hearn put in a good performance in the warm-up this morning, still struggling with his Lola. Juan Fangio and Arndt Meyer are together on row 13 of the grid, the young German driver. And Hiro Matsushita and Dennis Vitolo are together on row number 14. There's the picture of the cars as they come down the start-finish straight, just beginning to build up a little bit of tyre temperature. And let's take a bit more of a look at this circuit. The pit row, that's the start-finish straight into turn 1, and Jeremy, that's a possible overtaking opportunity.
Very definitely, particularly at the start of the race. We'll see some people diving down the inside, but there's a concrete there at the end on the apex of that corner in turn was very, very slippery. The cars are now coming to the end of Lakeshore Boulevard. This is the fastest point on the racetrack, about 185 miles an hour or so, down into a second gear hairpin right-hander. That's turn 3, and this again is a prime overtaking point. Coming up a slight rise, a slight left-hand kink, and into this corner here, left-hander at turn 5. Pretty dodgy place to overtake. Some people might try it on the first lap on cold tyres, and that's always a potential accident spot there. Then a very fast sweeper here, turn 6, and towards the end of the lap, 3 or 4 right, left-hand corners, 90-degree turns before the start-finish straight, and plenty of action there will be on this racetrack this afternoon.
Okay, Dario Franchitti, Mark Blundell, there are the two cars. Remember, Dario drives the silver and blue car, the Hogan Racing machine. Alongside him is the Motorola car of Mark Blundell, and we're getting ready for this 95-lap race to get underway. Franchitti on the inside, Blundell on the far side in the blue and red machine. Watch out for Rahal and Andretti right behind them on the second row. We know how aggressive Andretti can be at the start, and away they go. Bobby Rahal's trying to get down the inside of Franchitti. They've made contact. Franchitti spins in front of everybody, and Blundell gets round him, but now everybody is trying to get through the traffic jam on the first corner, and poleman Dario Franchitti spun out of action by Bobby Rahal. A little bit of contact as they turned into the first corner. One of the targets Ganassi cars is caught up in that. I can't spot which one it is, but Carl Hogan cannot believe it. Alan Langrich's engineer just alongside there, but what bad luck for Franchitti.
And terrible irony as well. Of course, Carl Hogan was partners with Bobby Rahal in the race team for 4 years, from 1992, when, of course, Bobby Rahal last won the PPG Cup Championship for the 3rd time in his career. There is Carl Hogan. He's not very happy, to put it mildly.
Full course yellow, they've got to get the cars cleared up. Mark Blundell leads Bobby Rahal as a round, and Franchitti gets going again. Now the car looked relatively undamaged, but he couldn't hold the slide after the contact with Rahal, and it's actually Fittipaldi, not one of the target cars, that got caught up in that as well. Christian Fittipaldi, who started reasonably well up on the grid, well, down in 13th in fact in the end of qualifying. Let's take another look. Now watch out for the white and blue car, the Miller car on the left hand side of the picture, trying to get alongside Dario as they came into turn 1. Now he was almost there, but Dario, well, it was just one of those things really. Perhaps Dario didn't quite realise where Bobby was.
You have to turn into the corner at that stage, Ben. There's concrete there on that apex of that corner. There was room there for Bobby Rahal down the inside. Really just one of those things. I mean, you can see Bobby Rahal, he realises he shouldn't really be there at that stage, but it's too late. Dario Franchitti has to turn into the corner. He's got cars all the way around him. And here's another onboard shot there from Bobby Rahal's car. There's his nose poked down the inside of Dario Franchitti. He knows here he's in a difficult situation because he's well to the inside of the corner. It's awfully difficult from that place to carry your momentum through the corner. So he knows there's a potential here for an accident, and there goes Dario around in front of him. Tried to hold on to it. Nowhere to go for poor Dario Franchitti. Great shame for the first corner.
That's another view from Andre Ribeiro's car now, and watch the cars up ahead. You can see Dario tried to hold it but just ran out of lock really, and the car spun round in front. Ribeiro managed to avoid the action. All the drivers sort of geared up to expecting some sort of avoiding manoeuvre at that first corner. It's always going to be a problem here, but what a great shame. And as you say, Rahal perhaps just being a little optimistic. He was almost in position but not quite there. This is the view from Andretti's car, and again you can see Rahal looking for the opportunistic move, realised it was too late, but by then they were both in trouble. And Andretti, oh, he did a good job, didn't he, to get round. They weren't travelling very fast by then. He'd taken most of the speed off, but look how many places he lost as a result of this. So the car's coming around behind the pace car, but we've heard it's going to go green this time as they come round, so not long. Yes, you can see the pace cars into the pits, and Mark Blundell leads the field as they come round to complete only the 2nd lap here in Toronto after a dramatic opening encounter, and Rahal is in 2nd place. This time he doesn't try anything on the leader. 3rd position for Scott Pruitt, 4th for Andre Ribeiro, 5th for Greg Moore. That's a great start, opening lap for Greg Moore. He managed to avoid the accident, and remember, Greg started in 9th position on the grid. Watch out for Ribeiro there. He's in the yellow fronted car, and he's trying to get past the car of Scott Pruitt. Also look at that, Pruitt now just holding him off as they come down into turn number 3. Meanwhile, Mark Blundell still up front.
I'm not sure whether Bobby Rahal might have gone around the outside there. They were side by side going into that corner. We couldn't quite see. Yeah, there is the white car, the white and blue car as opposed to the blue and white car. I think Bobby Rahal might have just snuck past in the same way that Andre Ribeiro was trying to pull off the same sort of move on Scott Pruitt there. So
not quite. I lie. Not quite, no. Mark just managed to hold on to it. Difficult to see. There you can see that it is Mark Blundell's car still in front, and the Motorola car ahead of the Miller car at the moment. Pruitt in 3rd place under attack from Ribeiro. Then the rest of the field come through. Moore, Andretti, Bozell, Zanardi is down in 8th position. Jimmy Vasser is 9th. Paul Tracy is in 10th, the championship leader, ahead of Gugelmin, Salas, De Ferran a long way down in 13th. Then Herter and Unser in 15th. Parker Johnston 16th. Jones in 17th position. And of course we'll try and keep an eye on the progress of Dario Franchitti as we go through this race. He's right down at the back of the field at the moment. We'll have to keep an eye on to see whether he can make up for any of that lost ground. Such a disappointing start for the Scotsman in that incident with Bobby Rahal.
It really all boiled down to that start as to whether you got through or not, which side of the road you were on. Ribeiro there was on the inside. He was able to get through. Some of the others not quite so lucky.
The view from on board with Ribeiro then as they come past some of the packed grandstands. There's a huge crowd here today, around about 70,000 people they reckon are here today, and that's a new record figure I think for the Sunday. Last year it was some 66,000 people. Beautiful weather conditions, just ideal for today's race. And look at Blundell beginning to pull away now from Bobby Rahal. Remember, Blundell is on the slightly softer Firestone tyre, and he seems to be making good use of that, good advantage from that tyre. Rahal in 2nd, Scott Pruitt in 3rd, Ribeiro in fourth position. Then Greg Moore just a little further back, but Moore's under a bit of pressure now from Alex Zanardi. Zanardi's got past Andretti. That's a move from the Italian, and he's showing some of the pace that he exhibited in this morning's warm-up session as well. Down into turn 3, Michael Andretti at the back of that threesome now. Moore, Zanardi, Andretti, and Zanardi is the one to watch at the moment. Remember, he fought his way up through the field in Cleveland in an absolutely superb way, and this is the sort of race that he wants to get as many points as possible from the Canadians.
Yeah, he made up a position on each of the last two laps. He passed Raul Boesel a couple of laps ago, as you say, and then last time he got to pass round Michael Andretti as well. Greg Moore next in his sights. Greg Moore, local favourite here, of course, in Canada, and the huge section of the crowd cheering for the Canadian driver. And there he is, Alex Zanardi, tucked in behind him as they go around turn 11. Difficult to get too close to a car in that corner, particularly in the early stages of the race. You lose your downforce on the front end of the car there, and he doesn't want to do anything silly at this stage. So he'll bide his time, try to get a run off this corner onto Lakeshore Boulevard, see if he can get him on the main straightaway.
Let's watch out. They're building up to 185 miles per hour in 6th gear as they come down here. Zanardi's gone for the outside line, and he's gone around the outside of Greg Moore. Fantastic stuff. He's got that car working brilliantly on the brakes as they come down there. And Zanardi, again, he's on the softer Firestone tyre, remember, so he will be getting a little bit more grip from those tyres in these early stages of the race. The question is, will the tyres last right up to the first pit stop for Alex Zanardi? Well, Greg Moore will be very aware of the fact that Zanardi's on the softer tyre, and therefore perhaps not intent on battling him at this point in the race. Zanardi's caught right up onto the tail of Andre Ribeiro already. Just shows you the sort of pace that Zanardi is driving at. And meanwhile, Mark Blundell is still pulling away.